Today we're going to take a look at the worm farm, where the red worms grow. Here's Leggy Lucy. I always talk about my bins and people wonder what the hell I'm talking about. So these are the bins I always talk about. And I'm going to show you the worm farm today and a little about what goes on. A little troubleshooting on one of the biggest problems. As you can see, I got a teensy little space for my worm farm. If I would have kept this worm farm going from the beginning and not giving away worms and using the soil, I've had this about 15 years maybe, and this whole room would have been filled by now of these bins. So I get rid of a lot of worms, especially during the winter, so that I can kind of keep it small. But here I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bins. Here's what it looks like. This is a dry bin. It doesn't have any spigots on the bottom to let out any moisture, water. I try to keep it somewhat wet, somewhat dry, kind of in between. But you don't want like water on the bottom, say, in this kind of method, or not too much. I have 2 bins that have this problem of flies. Today, I'm going to take a close look at these flies. So I'm going to use this dead plant to kind of cover the food now on the top. You can get rid of this in a couple ways. You can use what you use for mosquitoes, little pellets, and sprinkle them in, and it won't hurt the worms. Or you can could try to get this outside very slowly. The more you move it, the more the flies are going to come out. One thing you can use is apple cider vinegar and a little bit of Dawn dish soap in a little cup like this, and I don't know if you can see it too well, but it's caught a whole bunch so far, all those little black spots. It's cold out. If it were nicer, I'd try to slowly move this outside, but today I'm going to try to just cover it up. It's a little better than it was. I'll slowly take this top off. You'll see they're already coming out. There's a few of them. Here's the worm. This is okay to have a few worms on the top of your bin like this. But if you have a whole bunch, that's a whole nother problem. We'll get into another time. I don't really have that problem anymore. It's usually due to not feeding. So somehow this food got caught up in here. Maybe it's on the sides, and these flies nested and laid eggs probably, and they're all over. It's not so bad, but if I shake this a bit, I don't know if you can see some, but they're probably sitting on some of this stuff. I'm just going to try to push this down in a bit so it's flatter. And I'm just going to try to get this dirt on top of this stuff. Cover this better. There must have been some food. Sometimes I'll have food get caught like up in here. Like if I was dumping some food into here and it just sloshed into there. Anyway, there can be things you miss trying to cover the food. And that's how you get all the flies. So down in here, I'll take a quick peek. Bunch of worms. So that's how the soil looks down below. That's everything in here will turn to this black gold, they call it. So, one little trick from where the red worms grow.